dating. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. But tonight we are going to go a little dark, and because I want to protect you guys and I want to make sure you guys feel safe out there while dating. Okay. Hold on just 1 second. Just let me stop for a second. Admit all. Okay, this is going to be crazy. Okay. All right. So let me go back to my slides. All right. So as usual, this material is proprietary to my classes, Dating to Get Married, LLC. Please do not tape, record, reteach, or distribute this material without permission from me. Okay, you can definitely use it for your own personal use. I have no problem with that. I also put these slides on the online dating site, so you can access these slides later, or a copy of this presentation on the online dating site. And it's free to join the online dating site, by the way, in case you're wondering. All right, so let's get into it. Tonight, we're going to be talking about what is a catfish. I'm sure most of you guys know, but if you don't, we'll start there. It's always good to get grounded on the same definitions. How to avoid catfish scams. And then we're going to dive into spotting AI photos, spotting AI writing, whether that's messages or profile. And then we'll conclude with the Dating to Get Married app. All right, so catfish, isn't this a cool picture? Was generated by AI, okay? So it's an AI generated photo. But the definition of catfish is someone luring someone into a relationship using a fictional online persona. So usually this is for nefarious reasons. Either they're trying to trick the person and create a fake relationship with them, or they're trying to financially harm them. And extract money from them. You'll see this a lot on online dating already today, even without AI, as either a software bot, a prostitute. You'll see this also as someone that could even be just faking their persona. They steal photos from Facebook or online, and they pretend to be that person because they feel that person gets more likes, clicks, messages. And we're going to talk about how to not get into a relationship with a catfish today. And also AI is just going to accelerate catfishing because it's so easy to generate photos these days. It takes literally seconds. But what's not catfishing? Is there a way to use AI in a healthy way in conjunction with online dating? Yes, absolutely there is. And even as a dating coach, I encourage you to use ChatGPT and AI. It can really enhance the writing of your profile, especially for those that may struggle with writing or presenting themselves. Sometimes just a little bit of finesse from AI system can really help your online dating line profile pop. That's not being fake. That's not being disingenuous. If that content honestly reflects your personality and your intentions, and you're using your own photos, that is okay to do. It's okay to use ChatGPT and some of those other aspects to punch up or spice up your profile. And especially if the person is demonstrating EMAR, empathy, maturity, appropriateness, reciprocity. If you don't know, that is my method for picking a healthy partner, is that both yourself and your partner are demonstrating these attributes: empathy, maturity, appropriateness, and reciprocity. So it is okay to use AI. It can actually enhance your ability to communicate. It can improve it. But you want to make sure whatever you include on your profile represents you and your personality. You don't want to fish with the wrong bait, okay? You want to attract a partner that has the same value system as you. It's actually disingenuous, but it's also not to your advantage to present yourself as somebody else. Okay, if your goal is to form a loving relationship. So how do we avoid these catfish scams? If you get only one thing out of tonight's presentation, I want you to remember these 3 bullets. Because if you obey these 3 bullets, if you put these bullets and just put them in your brain and make them top of mind every time you go online. You will not get scammed, okay? The likelihood of you getting scammed is greatly reduced. Number one, never pay anyone money, okay? If they're serious about a relationship with you, they're not going to scam you out of money that first 2-3 months of dating them. So sure, I'm sure some of you guys are like, but what about the dinner? That's different. If someone pays for a dinner or pays for a date, that's fine. I'm talking about someone that says, oh, my car broke down. Can you give me $300 to go get it fixed? Or my grandmother's sick and in the hospital. I'd love to come meet you for a date, but can you pay $500 for her operation? It's usually associated with a sad story and then a carrot and a benefit of seeing them or something's going to happen in the relationship. Anyone that's manipulating you to give you money is not a good person and incapable of being in a loving relationship. And it's also bad manners. No matter how much money, if you are tempted to ask someone for money early on, just realize that if you ask them for money, you're basically closing the door on a healthy relationship with this person. Never send money for someone else. That's another way that scammers can get you, is they treat you, it's in the business called being a mule. And they launder money through you by you taking, going up to Walmart and getting money orders and then putting it into a different bank account. It gives them some cover. Never put money into another account, never transfer money from one place to another. It is illegal and gets you into schemes, and you can get in trouble with the government. So don't pay someone money and don't move money on behalf of another person that you don't know. And then the final one is really easy. Meet them within 3 weeks, okay? I know we need to make sure we do our due diligence in the sense that we are messaging people back and that they share our values and that there's someone we like. And when we're messaging and asking questions, that it represents the personality that we thought we read in the profile. So it is good to do due diligence online. And if you are someone that is really values your safety, meeting within 3 months, I count Zoom calls, okay, where you can physically see them, although AI is getting better even at that. But in general, you need to have live personal contact with this person within 3 months, because even if they're not a catfish, they may have intimacy issues or not enough time in their life to create a healthy relationship with someone if they can't spend an hour getting coffee somewhere. If their schedule is so packed that they can't put you in there, you may want to reconsider chasing this person for a relationship. You really need to meet within 3 weeks of messaging each other back and forth. All right, let's keep going. Catfish relationships. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is, right? If you are an older person and someone that looks like they're in their early 20s and is a model, is messaging you and thinking you're the best thing that's ever happened to them, and they're using romantic, flowery, grandiose language about how they're falling in love with you, it's probably not true, okay? I know that sucks. I know many men, especially men that I have coached, have had some beautiful persona woman start messaging them, and it turns out she's a prostitute, or it turns out, that the person isn't actually real and it's a catfish. So you really want to date someone within your own age range, and if they're saying things in messages that just sound too good to be true, or their fake persona sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And again, this goes directly with meeting them within 3 weeks, right? You want to meet them in person to see if what they're saying is actually true. So scammers also act controlling and manipulative. So when you start doubting their stuff, they can often turn mean and nasty to try to control you, or manipulative in the sense like, you don't believe me. I put my heart out to you, but you don't care, So be aware of that. That can be an aspect of a catfish relationship that's unhealthy and a sign you shouldn't be in a relationship with this person. look for mistakes and inconsistencies. Oftentimes a scammer will put spelling mistakes, grammar mistakes, or just be really out there in terms of their content, because they're seeing how much you really want to be in a relationship means how much money they can get out of you, and if you're a perfect target audience for them. Why do we stay in these relationships with catfish? Why do we email and pen pal for months and give people money? It's really easy. Scarcity and embarrassment. You feel like this is the best you can get, or you feel like no one else will talk to you, so you might as well talk to the catfish. You may even know in the back of your mind this is a catfish, or you may have started down this road and given money and then gotten embarrassed that you gave money, so you didn't want to know the lie, so you keep giving money so that you don't get, so you never have to realize the pain of the situation you've gotten yourself into. Jean and I did a really good video several months back that really addressed the scarcity and embarrassment. And it's on my YouTube. I'll show you in a slide or two. But if you're curious about this, we have live videos of people talking about how they never thought that they were a target for catfish, but they were in a bad situation in their life. And so they fell for it. Either they were scarcity wounded or just embarrassed that they fell for it. And so they kept it going. All right. So a perfect example of this is the Nigerian prince. Scammers purposely use outlandishly fake stories combined with spelling and grammar mistakes to target people who could suspend reality because they want a relationship. This is never a good thing. You never need to be too needy or too wanting a relationship that you're willing to settle for someone that treats you with disrespect or is not a really good quality candidate for you to be in a relationship with. Okay. All right. And avoiding catfish scams. Don't ignore your body sensations. If you are emailing this person, if you're interacting with this person and you feel uneasy, uncertain, or not safe, trust those feelings, trust those body sensations. There's a really good book written by an FBI agent called The Gift of Fear. It's pretty intense. I'm going to warn you, the content is pretty intense, but he mentions that all victims usually get a body sensation that they're not safe with the attacker. And if you pay attention to that body sensation and get out of those relationships or get out of that scenario, you're more likely to survive that kind of attack. Also avoiding catfish scams if you just meet them in person. Listen, people that are married go online and message people for their ego. If they don't want to meet you, probably because they're not available. People that fear intimacy but like the pen pal reaction, they're not going to want to meet you either. And catfish that want to steal money from you or they're a fake persona are not going to want to meet you. You lose nothing by wanting to see a person within a month or 3 weeks of messaging each other. And you get so much out of if someone doesn't want to meet you in 3 weeks, that's a sign that they're not ready for a relationship. They're either married, they're either have intimacy issues, or they're catfish. Be within a 10-year age gap of you and your partner. Yes, relationships can work when there's a bigger gap than that. But if there is a gap, again, this goes back to, is this too good to be true? Why is this young, beautiful, hot person messaging me? There's a potential that that could be a catfish, okay? I just want you to keep that in mind. I believe that 10 years is a good range from your age, 10 years less, 10 years above, that you can find someone to create a relationship with that shares your process in life, your stage of life, and shares your values. Okay. So again, for whatever reason, the picture didn't show up, but I do have a YouTube channel. If you want to learn more about avoiding being a catfish, we did a previous video, Jean and I, called Dating Scams, Spot the Scam Early in Dating. You can go look for that on YouTube, Dating to Get Married, at Dating to Get Married. We'll pull up my channel. And that's the previous presentation we did that has all the examples of people being scammed and why they got scammed in their personal testimonial. So without further ado, I'm going to let Gene come on and explain this in much more detail to you. And he's going to show you the sites and show you examples of fake photos and how to quickly spot whether they're fake or not. But again, AI stands for artificial intelligence. It's about software and data sets combined together to solve very complex problems. If you don't know what AI is. And AI can accelerate scams. We're going to see more and more scams come out in the next 5 years. We can't even predict them. They're going to just generate on their own because of the power of AI, unfortunately. Although there's a lot of AI that is going to spot AI, which what we're going to talk about tonight too. Realistic, attractive photos can be created in seconds, and Gene's going to demonstrate that. And AI bots can be used as autoresponders to messaging. So when you're online, someone can be a bot and just replying to all your messages. You're not even being scammed by a live person, you're being scammed by a computer. And new scams are coming. So without further ado, I'm going to let Gene come on and introduce himself and present his slides. Guys, this is fantastic. By the way, this all started because someone created a fake profile on my site, and Gene and I were talking about it, and he instantly saw what was wrong with the photo, and I didn't see it, and I had been staring at it for quite some time. So I said, we got to come back and share this with the larger community and help keep people safe. So Gene, would you like to start sharing your presentation and come on?
Sure. Thanks, Emily. I got to say, it wasn't quite instant. I looked at it a couple times before I noticed what was a very obvious flaw, which we had both overlooked. It's interesting how these images kind of draw your eyes to the wrong parts. Hello, everyone. I'm Gene Boucher. I decided to call my section here, Are They Really Real for Real? And this is kind of how romance scammers are using AI to try to trick people. Let me get my windows arranged. There we go. So my name is Gene Boucher. I'm a cybersecurity professional, and one of my interests and kind of specialties is social engineering. And if you're not familiar with that term, it's basically, in my field, it's hacking people instead of hacking machines, because it's easier to trick a person into doing something you want them to do than it is to actually get into a machine. You can trick a person to give up a password, give access to something, change a password for someone. And there's a lot of overlap between that and what these romance scammers do, because they're definitely convincing people to do something they don't want them to do, or they wouldn't want to do themselves. So yeah, Emily already spoke about the video we did last year. I went ahead and made a bit.ly link straight to the video on her channel. If you just go to bit.ly/dating scammers, it'll go straight to the video, and that covers a lot of stuff we're not covering again today. A lot of what she covered in more detail, including testimonials from some victims, and we go into some of the mechanics and the techniques they use, and some of like the way they use some natural tendencies people have and take advantage of people who are looking for love or at a bad point in their life or something like that. So I recommend everyone to go ahead and check that out if you're interested in learning more. So she went into what is AI. I kind of got my own quick slide right here. It's basically machines that do something that we're used to only people being able to do. It mimics human intelligence and is able to do tasks that seem like a person did it, basically. And they basically do that by studying or ingesting millions of examples, such as text or images, and then they can produce something similar to what they ingested. It's a really great tool. If you guys have not started using it, it's wonderful for creating text, for visual stuff, art, fake photos, like she showed those catfish. I made those earlier today. Video is getting better and better. Audio is also really good, and voice replication is another thing. They're able to do more and more accurate voice replications with less and less actual sample data. It's kind of predict that eventually they'll call someone and basically talk you into giving up a few sentences, and with that little info, they might be able to imitate your voice. It's actually kind of creepy what they're going to be able to do in the none too distant future. So a little bit about them and how they work. So this is how two of the most popular ones are this is how you operate them. You basically, ChatGPT has a website, Midjourney, you actually interact with it through a chat program, but you can ask it to do something with almost plain English. Like in this example, Chat GTP at the top. It says, hey, write a limerick about data, blah, 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 using the word egg. And then what's on the right is what came out. Midjourney, you can ask it to create an image of a rabbit wearing a sun hat. Boom, there it is. So here's another example of text generation. I just asked it, hey, this is Chat GTP, write an outline for a presentation about how scammers use AI for romance scams. And it just pumped this out. I'm not actually using this, but it's kind of amazing what it's able to produce. A couple of more examples. I use it in my job all the time to write quick programs that I end up doing a little modification for. It saves me hours. It's amazing. I've seen people use it to summarize YouTube videos, long YouTube videos. They'll take the transcript and pull out the key points. Or here I had it tell me what Don Quixote is about in 8 sentences. It's pretty remarkable what this tech can do. So another thing it can do, like Emily touched on, is you can use it to actually improve your own dating profile. Here I was like, hey, help me create a dating profile by interviewing me. So it gave me some questions. I took the questions, gave it some pretty short answers, and then it produced this pretty well dating profile, kind of following what is kind of the standard format. And actually that was a bit long. So I said, hey, rewrite that in less than 200 words, and it rewrote it in 193. It's pretty amazing what it's capable of doing. Another thing it can do is, like I said in the earlier video slide there, it can imitate humans even as in conversation. So this is where it starts to become something that scammers could use, or we can use to learn how to better interact with people online, right? I asked it for 3 lines for women dating app questions. I didn't even give it complete sentences, and it just pumped out these really kind of friendly little responses that that somebody could just use and copy and paste, right?
And I just want to point out, sorry, Gene, that a lot of this stuff is template information on how to create a presentation or create a message. So for example, whether you're using my template for how to message someone or AI's version of it, it's a way to learn how to communicate, to express yourself more effectively to your partner. Mm-hmm. That's the positive aspect of AI. The negative aspect is it can be used as a manipulation tool to misrepresent yourself for nefarious reasons. But it has both capabilities, is what we're saying.
Yep, and the one on the left is Chat GTP. The one on the right is Google's tool called Bard. They are both pretty equally capable and both free. This is another one. This is actually more actual conversation kind of example. If someone wrote a question, hey, I liked your photo, was at Rocky Mountain National Park, I can pump that in. How should I respond? It gives you a response. And you can see how someone who, let's say, doesn't hardly even speak English, or because a lot of the scammers are abroad. That way they're kind of unable to be caught by like the police or the FBI. And so they know they can execute their scams against people in other countries. So they tend to not speak the native language of the target victims. So anyway, this kind of like could be used to solve that problem for them. Here's an example of image generation, kind of like what I described with Midjourney. This is Bing's tool. You can just ask it in almost plain English, generate a photo with these aspects in it. And it pumped out these pretty nice looking pictures of a horse with up in the mountains. Somewhere I really wish I was considering it's 105 today where I live. Here's a great example of some visual work it can do. It can actually take an image like the one on the left and fill in all the holes that are created by the scratches. And it does that by having millions of photos that it analyzes, finding patterns, then finding how this photo matches those patterns, and then fills in the holes. And not only can it like take an existing photo and fill in holes, it can use that same data and just generate photos from nothing. So all of these examples here are images that they were generated by a seed, which would be like an image with like a few pixels, and then it starts from that. So a few random pixels, and then it generates something completely different from each one of them. And then you end up with completely different photos of people who don't actually exist. Here are a few examples of real people and fake people. So each column pair is a real person and a fake one. I'm just going to give everyone a few seconds to kind of glance through these and kind of look at them and think, which one do you think's real? Which one do you think's fake? So the real ones in each of the column pairs is on the left and the fake one is on the right. They're very convincing. So
Wow.
AI is a tool, right? And like Emily kind of explained, it's a tool we can use to do things better, right? To improve our profile or communicate better or whatever. But like any tool, it can be used for good or bad purposes, and there are scammers out there who will use it for bad. So how do the scammers use AI for bad? Well, they're going to make fake dating profiles, of course. And I go into this a lot more in our other video, some of the damage and some of the specific victim stories, but this is kind of a sampling. You can see all these government sites where they actually have warnings about it. They have warnings inside the military. ICE has warnings about it. And then millions of dollars are lost every year. So this is a pretty serious threat to anyone who's online and trying to meet people. So there are a lot of free websites that generate portraits, websites that you don't even have to create a login for. You can just go. This one is generated.photos. Another one is thispersondoesnotexist.com, which is kind of a fun one. And you can just go on there and grab photos that are very, very convincing. But generally, they're not perfect. So there are ways, especially from these free sites, that you can spot a fake photo, which is what happened with me and Emily with one of the profiles on her dating app site. So they typically have a telltale sign, and those signs are what are called artifacts. And that's kind of a technical term. It basically means a mistake in the generation that resulted in something in the final image. So artifacts that are very common in these free sites images is if they make glasses or hats or earrings, they tend to be kind of weird looking. Parts of the face might be kind of odd, or the background of the image might be kind of odd. So here are some examples of artifacts. So here are some really bad ones, in fact. And these are good examples to show first because these are really apparent. I think they kind of look like mushrooms or maybe oyster shells, but they're good examples because these are really big and blatant, and the smaller ones tend to have these same kind of weird patterns, but they're just much smaller. And here's some more. With all the data ingest, when it tries to reuse it, it sometimes doesn't do things quite right. You can see the combo of like a hairline and a hoodie edge or something, or looks like a guy almost had glasses but doesn't. Or the woman at the bottom right, you can see that oyster shell kind of stuff going on in the background. So those are kind of some of the telltale signs. So I'll just go through the four most common ones. The background. So one thing about the background of images, there's a photographic technique that's very, very popular and very simple to do. It's called bokeh, and that's basically blurring out the background. And it's popular because it creates a very pleasing image, and it makes the subject stand out. It kind of makes the background irrelevant and not grab attention. So it's very popular, and these sites, these generators take advantage of that by generating a background that appears to be blurred out. So here are a few examples like this one. It's kind of blurred out. It's kind of nonsense, but if you look at it, you can kind of see that weird artifacty kind of mushroomy kind of look. And you just got to look at it like, where was she? A pile of leaves? What's behind her there? Or this fellow is he in a construction site full of spider webs? Like, what's happening back there? And this one, is she up against trees in a jungle or and then this one is a good example of just it making just noise in the background. So to kind of reset our brains, these are photos of real people in real places. And as you can see, the background is blurred out, but you can kind of tell where it is. It's a room, it's a field, it's a mountain range, it's a street. It's blurry, so it doesn't grab attention, but it's still someplace, whereas those others were no place. And that's a big difference you can see between these AI generated ones on these free sites that are easy to get, that they use a lot, and real photos. So one of the things that messes up a lot is glasses.
Wait, before you, I was going to say, can you tell what the fake is? Okay, go ahead, Gene.
Where? Sorry. Okay. Glasses. So glasses is something that AI seems to mess up a lot. And I think it's an issue with symmetry. The photos it's ingested, a lot of them are not quite head on. Glasses are, of course, symmetrical, but people are rarely looking straight at a camera. So all the info it ingested that include glasses they don't appear symmetrical to the camera. So the end result is when it produces photos that include glasses, they end up not being symmetrical, even if the person's looking straight on. So you can see in these examples, they often are, one lens is slightly larger. The hinges are often different. They aren't quite the same shape. They just kind of, if you just give them a good glance, there's just something off about them.
So stylistically, if you look at the corners, like at the ends, yeah, right there. If you look at the ends of the glasses where
Yeah, the hinges.
like near the ears, the hinges, they stylistically look different on each photo that he's shown with glasses. There's a different look to them.
I've gone through thousands of these photos to collect this set, and almost every single one with glasses was really blatantly something wrong with it. This one, first glance, might not look bad, but if you really kind of look at it, once again, the hinges are off. Another thing it kind of does is sometimes it doesn't really keep the physical object separate from the person. You can see the legs just kind of like meld into the hair. So those kind of mistakes when it's generating the image from the data appear. Another one is hats. AI doesn't do hats well. The one on the bottom left there is a good example of that weird kind of oyster shelling stuff that you see sometimes. And so, yeah, they just kind of strange, kind of don't make sense. Earrings, another one, another problem of symmetry. Earrings are identical, but they rarely look identical to a camera because they're not in the exact same position. So the end result is the data is that they're not identical. And so then it just ends up producing very weird results. Okay, I have to share these. Like I said, I went through thousands of photos, and it seems like 1 out of every 80 to 100, the system started with a seed or however it starts them, of 2 people, but yet the software is really only written to draw 1 person. And so the second person ends up being like an evil twin. It looked like it almost used the same feature set, skin tone, hair, eye color, stuff like that, and then just made very weird monster movie looking results. So those were quite a laugh as I was going through whenever they popped up. So AI is getting better. This technology is getting rapidly better. They're saying like the amount the internet changed between the late 90s and now, AI is going to make those sort of advancements in like 3 to 5 years. It's just going to be super fast. So regarding these images and the chats and stuff like that, the text stuff, it's just going to get better, faster and faster. And so these flaws right now are useful to look for, and the scammers are going to be using these free sites so they can just go and grab some photos for free really quick and produce a disposable profile, because they're expecting the profiles to get flagged and shut down, and maybe that image flagged so they can't use it again. So they need a place they can just go get images really quick and cheap. So they use these free sites a lot, and the free sites have those errors, but they're getting better and better. These are all fake, by the way.
Oh, okay.
So the AI, right now, the free sites have these artifacts that kind of stand out, but there are also paid services if these scammers are willing to pay for sites that create substantially better quality images. And these are some examples of some that I produced. If you can see the bokeh, the fuzzy background is what you would expect. The only thing that makes them look fake is they almost look too perfect. And these are screenshots of when I made them. And these are all in Midjourney. Just for fun, while I was at it, I went ahead and I was like, hey, make a dating profile image of an astronaut and a pirate and a post-apocalyptic guy and a race car driver and a Viking woman. And you can see it's capable of making very, very realistic. These look like people in costumes. It's really amazing what it's capable of doing, which would make it very, very difficult to identify them in a dating app. So scammers are going to be using better and better photos, or maybe they might actually use the services and get a super high quality photo. So that brings up the question, how can we beat the AI? The bad news is that really we can't. But we can beat the scammers. We can detect the scammers, and we can not fall into their game. You can protect yourself by identifying the tricks the scammers use. And this kind of comes back to, if anyone's taken Emily's courses, kind of the fundamentals. There are a few technical tools we can use. As this photos get better and better, that we can use AI to fight AI. So there's this great site called aiornot.com, and you can grab a screenshot, or even better, download the photo and upload it into their site. And it's super simple site. Top page is where you upload a photo, and it will tell you this is AI, or this was created by a human, or it'll tell you it doesn't know. Sometimes it can't tell, but in about 100 photos that I tested with it, and I never got a false positive. So it's really doing pretty good work. By the way, this is the photo that came from Emily's website, which at first glance, it's kind of funny. It looked real, but then I was like, what is up with those glasses? And I was like, oh gosh, this is a fake profile.
Another thing also that Jean mentioned, she only had one photo. So it's hard for AI to put, sorry.
That's actually the next thing I'm gonna get into.
Okay, sorry.
No problem. I just have examples. Sorry to cut you off, but I got a bunch of great examples. And here we are. One technique they will use, because they go to the free websites, and even in the paid websites, it's difficult. In the paid websites, it's difficult to get. In the free websites, it's impossible to get two images that look like they're of the same person. They're going to look slightly different at best. And so what these guys are doing is they'll get one really good portrait shot, and then a couple of fun action photos that look like somebody you'd want to hang out with. I mean, this is a good set. Somebody loves hiking. They like traveling abroad, and she's cute. Or this one. This guy looks like he's very active and likes to, very adventurous, perhaps. So that should be kind of a red flag whenever you're looking at profiles. If there's one portrait photo and two photos that don't show their face, especially if you kind of look, there's the one on the left's looking like a younger guy. Don't really look like the same person, because they're not. Anyway, if you see this set like this, only one portrait photo, that should kind of make you kind of suspicious. So don't, I look at these profiles like this, like giving them points. Like in my head, I'm like, ooh, that's a negative point. And just a few negatives, and I'm like, man, that's probably fake. And just start off doubting whether or not it's real. One other thing you can do is, for some of these images that don't have their face, they were taken from some website. They didn't make the image. And so you can actually go and do a reverse image search. And I think I'm actually sharing, I need to share my whole window, so I got to back out. Now we'll do a demonstration of how to do that here.
How many of you guys are enjoying tonight's presentation? How many of you guys going to try some of this stuff out and learn? Yes. I don't want any of you guys getting scammed, okay? Just remember, if they can't meet you in 3 weeks, they aren't real. In the sense, they're not real about a relationship.
So I've copied out the image. Here it is. And if I upload it to this, upload it to this website. What am I doing wrong? Reversing. Okay, this worked earlier. That's funny. Oh, I need to drop it there. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, upload the image. And then start now. No, I don't want to do that. I didn't have to do this before. Why is it making me do it now? All right, this is weird. I really did run through this earlier. Extension. Why is it one extension? Oh my gosh, is this an ad inside the website? What? Wow, okay. Yeah, I'm using Incognito, which doesn't have my ad blocker. which I run all the time, I didn't realize I was just clicking on ads inside the web page right there. Okay, sorry, that took me a second to actually find the actual button. All right, I'm gonna go back to that. But let me continue with what I was trying to show you guys. So Google, great thing about this website is when you upload a photo, it takes you to this page and gives you links to Google's reverse image search and Bing's reverse image search, I believe Yahoo. This guy is TinyEye, which is really high quality. And it's called a reverse image search because if there's an image, it's looking to see where it came from. We don't do reverse image searches for words. It's just a search because words are kind of everywhere. But images tend to come from somewhere. And here's a great example. So this image, Google was able to find it on Travel How To, Standard.uk. If this was in a profile and you search it and you see it's all over the internet, maybe the person just grabbed it because they're like, that's the kind of thing I like to do, but why wouldn't they have a picture of themselves doing it if they like to do it? TinyEye similarly found it on some German website. Yeah, so these are great tools for going and verifying if the photo is one that they didn't actually take themselves. So let's see if I refresh the site. So just to review, grab the photo, save it. You can upload it here. Then the button to push is the blue one, search image or search similar image. And that is how you get to the page with the various search engines results. And the rest are ads. That was so weird. All right, so that is how to do a reverse image search. Like I said, if there are other images that you suspect might be stolen from hiking sites or something, travel sites or wherever, then you can do that reverse image search to see if they're found elsewhere on the internet. So what scammers do is they try to imitate a real partner and a real relationship while they're trying to trick the person into presumably probably sending them money, right? How do you flush them out? And Emily, you touched on this pretty strong earlier. Meet them in person, or even easier, video call, 5-minute video call. You can see if the person matches the images on their profile. And that.
Hey, Gene, I was going to ask you about the video call because nowadays they're getting better and better at creating AI that can mimic a person, like look like a video and have a conversation with them. What do you think about that?
Most of that requires multiple images of the person that's they're imitating. Different angles, and then it will create a 3D model. And then as they move, because the video would be videoing them. If anyone's played with some of those apps that can do like funny masks on your face live, it basically works like that. It maps your face, key points like your mouth and your eyes, and as you move, it will make its 3D generated mask move. But they generally need 2 or 3 photos of the face they're going to generate. So trying to generate I'm calling it a digital mask of a photo that they only have one photo of probably wouldn't work very well. And right now, most of the scammers aren't using that stuff. They don't need to do it because there's enough people who will get tricked with the basic stuff, basically.
Got it.
Yeah. Eventually they will, and eventually it's going to get better. And eventually they might only need one photo. So yeah, all of this is only valid now. By the end of the year, this stuff's going to be way better. Sometime next year, it's going to be more advanced. So we just got to be savvy. And that's why ultimately some of these fundamental tools of evaluating their interaction with you is actually more important than really evaluating their photos or critiquing their profile or running their profile through detectors, because that stuff can all be beaten ultimately. But right now it's useful. Ask yourself, is this perfect match really who they say they are? And my next shot has a bunch of kind of key points, but this is one that really stuck out. And Emily, you kind of touched on this. Like if they're too perfect, you got to be suspicious. It'd be wonderful to meet an absolutely perfect person, but these scammers are creating a fictional character on the fly based on your profile, maybe based on what they find on other social media, if they're really going to spend time and try to target you. But usually just based on what you put in your profile and then what they get from you in their interaction. Oh, you like hiking? They happen to love hiking too. Oh, you like coin collecting? They have a massive coin collect. I mean, they're going to make themselves seem perfect. So you got to question, are they really who they say they are? And of course, they commonly love bomb. They're quickly professing, they're in love with you. They're trying to give you the fairy tale romance that you see in movies that we all kind of like dream of. They're also trying to make things easy. And it would just be easy if we could meet the perfect person, fall in love, and get married. And they're trying to create that fantasy situation for you and get you to take it hook, line, and sinker, basically. But these are some things to watch out for. Quick professions of love, which is like love bombing. Requests to move off the app onto texts or WhatsApp is very common. WhatsApp's very common because it's used abroad a lot. Texting isn't really that good either, because even if they have a local area code, it may just be a VoIP number. Like if anyone's set up Google Voice, if you have a Gmail account, you can just go to voice.google and very quickly just set up you can choose the area code you want and just set up a voice over IP, by the way, if you're not familiar with VoIP. You can create a phone number that you interact with through your web browser from anywhere in the world.
And Jean, let me just jump in here for just a second. I want to tell you guys, stay on the dating app and pick a reputable dating app, because dating apps, they do a lot behind the scenes to try to protect you. They're getting better and better at looking at messages, interpreting messages, and picking out people that may be a problem for the majority of their community and isolating them and getting them off the app. And they have they're using AI to try to shut down scams fast. The reason why these people want to get you off the dating app as soon as possible is it's a trust thing, right? Do you trust me enough to give me your personal information? Do I have personal access to you? B, they can start now using language that won't get them detected by the app and block you, right? So what I'm saying is if they can move you to WhatsApp, they can say, hey, can you give me $500? Which if they tried to say that on the dating app, that message wouldn't even get to you because the dating app would shut it down.
One other interesting aspect about that move from the app to a phone number is that this stuff is really big business. I had a picture of a call center earlier in one of my slides, and there are literally call centers or sections of call centers abroad that they do these scams. I mean, it's a job for some people, and they do it 8 hours a day, and they're practicing 8 hours a day at lying to people and scamming them. And one thing that often happens in that scenario you were talking about, where you'll move from the dating app onto another communication platform, is that's actually a handoff from kind of someone getting leads to handing off to a closer. And that person might get paid 10 cents for every person they send over there. And they're just like constantly trying to move people. I've interacted with a lot of them, and they are that initial person is definitely not trying to close. They're just trying to get you over to that number. And that is a real indicator that they're not a person who's going to try to trick you out of money. They're just trying to make their 10 cents or whatever they're making.
Again, someone that wants to have a relationship with you will probably also ask for your phone number or want to connect on a more personal level. The difference, I would say, is go on that first date first. Go on a coffee date for 1 hour at Starbucks and say you'll give them the phone number right after, or get on a Zoom call. Get on a Zoom call first. Most of the dating apps also have the ability to use a video connection. Do some sort of pre-vetting before you give them your personal information. So it's so much easier to block them if you don't like them, right? Or if things get weird. So either meet them on the dating app on a video, Zoom, or a coffee date for an hour. And then if you feel comfortable with that person and you feel like this is a trustworthy person, you liked what they said on the date, then you can share more personal information about them. But it's okay when someone says, "Where do you work?" to say, "Oh, well, I work in the medical industry." Instead of saying your exact title or job or location. "Where do you live?" Say, "Oh, uptown," instead of giving an address. It's always safer to use summarized information about yourself and not specific data until you've really properly vetted this person and got to know them.
Yep. And any real person will understand your hesitance, I would think, because everyone's encountered scammers at this point.
And if they ask, you can say, "Hey, I don't want to be scammed. I took a class on dating scamming, and that's why. Blame it on me. That's totally fine. I'm here for it." Okay. I prefer for you guys to all be safe.
Yep. So request to move you off into a different dating platform for the various reasons we discussed. That's kind of a red flag. Any appeal to you for help somehow is a bad sign. Claims of living or working or traveling away, which keeps them from meeting in person. That's just a really, really common scam. I'll show you a typical scam script here in a couple of slides. And then, of course, if they request money, that should be the reddest flag of them all. Money or gift cards. Gift cards is huge these days. It seems like 90% of the people I've talked to, or the case studies I've read, or the testimonials I've seen, it's always gift cards. And that's because gift cards, they can receive gift cards when they're unable to receive money via Western Union or any of those kind of systems. It bypasses all that, because you can go buy a gift card, take a photo of it. Well, not only does it bypass, they don't use it themselves. They sell it to a broker who then sells it online, and they get like 80 cents on the dollar on it. So it gives them something that they can sell, basically. And then there's no name tied to it. There's not like a bank wire transfer where there's account numbers and somebody's ID got checked before that account was open. Anyway, gift cards, huge red flag, the reddest of them all. Well, as red as money. Let's say money and gift cards are equally red. Be cautious of unsolicited messages. Like, I'm surprised how many case studies, someone randomly getting a message, someone slid into their DMs, is like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then it turns into a 4-year scamming relationship. Don't share personal information, like Emily said. Watch for inconsistencies. I forgot, what did you say about inconsistencies, Emily?
So when people are incongruent in any way, it's a sign of potential. Either they're a scammer, or it's a sign that they have trauma or issues with intimacy. Okay, so some of the most, for example, the first email message has lots of spelling mistakes and stuff like that, and then suddenly their wording becomes much better, or they become more sophisticated at talking. That's usually you switched persons in the call center,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So any kind of inconsistencies in the mannerisms in which they talk to you, or how they're showing up, and a lot of these scammers can also, they start off with their sad, sappy story of why you need to help them. And then when you don't, they become mean and controlling and yelling as a way to try to scare you into, "You're being a bad person," or "You need to do this for me."
And that works a surprising amount of the time in a lot of the testimonials I've seen. Because one thing about it is, at that point, those scammers are feeling like, well, they're kind of on their way out. I'm going to see if this works. And at worst, they continue to go. Inconsistencies can also be a sign that, well, like you said with the scammers, because it's call centers, these people are working with multiple potential victims at a time, and they may actually forget what they told a specific victim. So if you ask them what they do for a living, and they're like, "I told you yesterday," or ask them about their brothers and sisters, "Do you have any?" And they're like, "I told you." I've actually encountered that in some of my kind of test engagements with them. They forget who they told what, because they're working so many victims, or there's multiple shifts of people and they're trying to work off of notes. They just don't
Also,
stay consistent because it's not a true story.
also inconsistencies can look like they're very sweet natured, kind, and then you do one thing wrong and then you fall off the pedestal and they're mean spirited, or they promise to, hey, next week we're going to get together, and you never do, and then the next week you're going to get together and then you never do. So anytime someone is promising you something but their actions don't support the promise, that future faking of one day we'll be together, but they're not taking any actions to create or generate that future with you. I don't care if they're a scammer or just an average day person, they're not someone you should be in a relationship with if they're inconsistent in their words and their actions.
Yeah, what you described right there kind of made me think. They may drop out of character, and instead of their character, you start to see the actor. And the actor is just some criminal who doesn't care about hurting people and just wants their money.
Yeah.
Yep. So watch out for that. Signs of impersonal or scripted conversations, because they're working a whole bunch of victims one after another, a bunch at the same time. They can't create unique conversations to have. Basically, they can't give a lot of attention to each of them unless they're really thinking they're going to get a lot of money. They won't. So they tend to, their love bombing tends to be vague. It tends to be generic, kind of like the stuff about your signs in the newspaper when it talks about your future or whatever. It's kind of vague and generic, but you feel like it's applicable to you if you want it to be applicable. That's the way their scripts kind of work. So watch for that. Be skeptical of anyone who's too eager to rapidly start a relationship. And in this, I grabbed this off of a government website. It said, watch out for scammers because they're skilled at creating believable personas and stories. This is their job. This is what they do for a living, 8 hours a day, and they're practicing, getting better and better at it. So the most common romance scam script kind of goes like this. They match with you, and then you chat with them, and they just seem great. They seem like a wonderful person. You're like, oh, I think I may have found the one. And then you chat for a couple of weeks maybe, and it's time to set up a date. And Emily, it's funny, you were saying max 3 weeks you need to meet them, because all the case studies were all around like after about 2 weeks, it's like, okay, I want to meet you. Oh, they have to go on a business trip, or they have to go take care of a sick family member, but they can't wait to see you when they get back. They're just like, oh, when we get back, we're going to meet and it's going to be so awesome. Then while they're away, they're continuing to text and they have some sort of emergency. Their wallet got stolen and all their credit cards are in it while they're on a business trip, or a family member's sick and they don't have money or whatever. And then they're asking you for money. So, oh, and then they're asking you for more money. There's no end to them asking for money after that point. So, safety rule here is never, you said exactly this earlier, Emily, never give someone money. I say it this way, never give someone money that you haven't met in person. That would protect you from 99.99% of these scammers. Just if you make
Sorry. Also, if someone's saying, I can't wait to meet you when I get back, do a video call.
Yes. There's no reason they can't do a video call. And well, they're gonna give reasons they can't do a video call. Their internet's bad, their camera's broken on their phone. They will make up reasons, but then you'll see, and they'll go through some hoops to give up reasons. I had one tell me one time they couldn't talk on the phone because their microphone was broken on their phone. Yeah, they'll tell you whatever that comes to mind to them. So yeah. So unfortunately, perfect partners aren't as easy to manifest as perfect photos, right? Because perfect photos are very, very easy to make these days. I made both of these photos on Midjourney. So I want to tell everyone, stay safe. And another quick guideline, I want to get some of these that you can just kind of keep in your head. Remember, they aren't real until you met them in person. Even in video, they might not really be who they are. So until you meet them in person and get to know them, who knows who they are.
And I would even say that's true for someone that's not a scammer. Don't fall in love with a profile. that's your fantasy projected on who you want that person to be. Until you meet them in person live and interact with them, that's the real them, right? So someone could not be a scammer and have honest intentions of being in a relationship, but when they write their profile, they use a word that has a different meaning than how you interpret it. So much better to meet in person and actually observe this person's behavior and not just go on the words in their profile or the feelings or sensations you get when you read their profile. If you want a real relationship, meet in real life.
Yep. We touched on that a lot in the previous video, and credulity, and they take advantage of people's, if they don't give you a whole lot of information, or if they just give you information you like, you'll fill in the holes about their personality or whatever, and you will fall in love with this person who you imagined that they sold you as a fictional person. Yeah. That's their bread and butter. That's how they work. So here's another guideline. In watching some testimonials, some people who got scammed, I was like, if they would remember this, they wouldn't get scammed. One, don't send money. I can't reinforce that one enough. Two, online dating isn't dating someone over the internet. There are people who go years, they start off meeting them, and then they just go and go and go. And next thing you know, it's years that they're dating someone over the internet. But you don't date someone over the internet. You don't have a relationship over the internet. We should be using the internet to meet someone and then have a real relationship in real life. And if we keep that in mind, if many of the victims I've met and seen their testimonials online, I'm like, if they would have kept that in mind and been strict with themselves about it, they wouldn't have gotten tricked. So I got to throw this in here. If you were to get tricked and send money to someone, what should you do? So I would recommend immediately reporting it to the FBI. Now that may seem kind of intimidating, right? Especially if someone like watched X-Files back in the day, like the FBI seemed like these people go investigating aliens or something, but really all the FBI are cops who their jurisdiction is the entire country, and they mostly work with financial crimes. And so they have, they're who the local, if you call your local police saying you wired money to a bank and the bank's going to be in another state, almost guaranteed, they're going to have to go to the FBI. So going to your local police is going to people who aren't really good at that kind of crime, and then they're going to have to turn it over to the FBI anyway, and it ends up wasting time. The FBI agents I've talked with about this, they say if they get a report of money moving from one bank account to another within 72 hours, they can usually recover it. But the closer you get to 72, the less and less chance. And then after 72 hours, it gets harder to reverse transactions and freeze accounts. Because as soon as the money lands in the account, the money mule, like Emily spoke of earlier, those people are trying to move that money into gift cards or into Western Union, or they're just trying to get it out of there. But it does take them some amount of time. So ic3.gov is the best place to go. They go straight to the website, straight to the FBI's analyst. If you go to the website, this is what the front page looks like. Click on file a complaint, and then it has a bunch of questions about you, bank account numbers, all that. And I've spoken with some of the analysts who receive these reports out of the San Antonio office, and they're watching this 24/7. And I'll tell you what, nobody hates criminals as much as FBI guys. And no one cares more about victims than FBI guys. And so, these are your tax dollars at work, use them. All right, in summary, because I know I talked about a lot, defense against romance scammers. Like I said, some of these tools we can use we can kind of create a technical defense to try to detect them, but ultimately the fundamentals are kind of the best, like evaluate them for a real potential partner to have a relationship with. But number one, never send money. If someone's abroad and their wallet's stolen on a business trip and they're hitting you up for money, they should be hitting up their employer. I mean, or going to the US Embassy. There are much better resources they have than trying to hit up a person they just met on a dating app. It's kind of ludicrous if you really think about it. Video call as soon as you can, I guess. I mean, pretty early on, there's no reason. I started asking for video calls when I'm dating, like, pretty early on, like, hey, let's chat, because you can only learn so much about a person through text anyway. You can review the photos and look for some of those artifacts. Like I said, the free sites aren't as good, and that's mostly where they get it. Emily, like you spoke of with the dating sites, the free dating sites are the worst because it's free to make an account. They're expecting it to get flagged. And so they don't want to spend money and then lose money over and over and over without making money. So they mostly use the free dating apps. So watch out on those sites more than one you might pay for. In conversation, watch out for love bombing. Are they really too perfect? Might it be a fictional character made from your profile for you? And watch for generic compliments and stuff. This is a bunch of links that are some of the tools I used. I've got a bunch more links to romancescams.com, socialcatfish.com, some good YouTube channels. The QR code on the right actually goes to a Google Doc with all these links on it. If you want to scan it right now with your phone and open that up, you can get this set of links. And then if anyone wants to contact me about cybersecurity, social engineering, romance scams, you can hit me up at xgonefishingx@gmail.com. That's one I made specifically for this kind of conversation. And I guess I'll leave this up for anyone who wants to scan the QR code for a little bit longer, but that is the end of my presentation. And I guess we can move on to any Q&A.
Yes, that sounds good. And I will also have these slides. Give me a couple days, but I'll put them up on the dating site as well for you guys. And if you came in late, we did record it. We'll also have that both on YouTube and on the dating site. I always give the dating scam videos away for free because I think the information is so critical to keep people safe. So just FYI, you can see it on YouTube or you can see it on the datingtogetmarriedapp.com. All right, so we will take it off recording first. Okay, hopefully that worked. Why does it say still recording? Oh, don't tell me I didn't record.